in here. Hey guys, did it start? Yeah, yeah. Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Welcome, everyone. Welcome. Let us know if y'all can hear us.
We always like to check that. This is on different platforms. We have it on. What, you guys something playing? You trying to
Yeah.
watch something? We have this on YouTube, Facebook, and I think Twitter. I haven't figured that one out, but it's supposed to go to that, right?
I guess. Yeah.
I don't do Twitter, honestly, but
Yeah.
yeah.
So we have a special guest that we've known for quite some time now.
Been following for quite some time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
4 years?
Is it
3
about-
years?
Yeah.
Yeah.
At least three and a half.
At least 3 years. Yeah.
Yeah. At least.
Yeah. Yeah. And we go way back. We have Dahlia. She is a backyard chicken educator. If y'all do not know, she has a wonderful YouTube channel called Welcome to Chickenlandia. And you're out of the northwest area.
She's near.
I am. I'm in Washington.
How's the weather right now?
Cold.
You're not far from our oldest son, so yeah.
Yeah, I'm north.
Mm-hmm.
I'm north of him.
About an hour and a half north of him, yes.
And it's not even considered that cold. Like I live, we're right off the Puget Sound.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's relatively mild here. That's what I'm told. But I'm from Texas.
Yeah.
And if anyone has lived in Texas, there's a few days out of the year where the weather is just completely insane. It's like everything's ice. It's either ice, it's melting, or there's tornadoes.
Yeah.
All in the past week.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're actually doing this a week later because of tornadoes, which was upgraded to an EF4 tornado that happened right near us. Yeah.
Literally about a block away.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, I don't miss that. But I do miss, like, I honestly rather deal with like the heat than I would right now. It's like 30 degrees outside and I'm not about that life.
Well, it's getting to 28 or 27 tonight.
Yes.
Here.
Yeah.
As I said,
but tomorrow it'll be 70, 75.
No. Actually, this week.
Yeah, this week I don't think it's going to hit in the 60s. I think it's going to be the 50s. And
I don't remember it getting cold this early in a long time.
Yeah. We had a really late summer. Like we had a really long summer, and there were fires, and then all of a sudden it's just like so cold to me. I mean, the people in Minnesota, and they're laughing at me right now, but to me this is really cold.
Yeah. So you are there because the first man, is that how you got to the Washington State?
Well, I met the first man. So the first, okay, let's explain the Chickenlandia jargon. So
yeah.
So I call I'm the self-appointed president of Chickenlandia, and Chickenlandia is my chicken yard. It expands beyond that, but it's my chicken, it's my land, chicken land, so I call my husband the first man since I'm the president.
I love that.
And we met in Los Angeles. We were both working in the entertainment industry. My husband still works as an aerial cinematographer, so you've probably seen stuff that he has shot. But we moved up. We wanted to get out of LA, but there's still a thriving industry up here, especially in Vancouver. And my husband's Canadian, so that's why we moved up here.
I have Canadian family. Like my sister and my niece and them live in Canada, like probably 6 hours north of you. So, yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's cold.
Yeah. They're chickens.
Yeah.
They're still chickens.
So speaking of homesteading, how did you get into this Chickenlandia? How did you get to being raising chickens and things of that nature, ducks and?
Well, my oldest son was about 1 year old. He was almost two, and I was just it was really rough on me. We had a kid. I was a little bit older when we started to have kids, and I just had really bad postpartum depression, and I really needed something that was just mine. Something that I could work on, something that would get me outside. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to get some chickens. And I had no idea what that would mean for my life, because I had, when I was in LA, I was trying to be, I worked as a personal assistant. I did a little bit of freelance writing there, but not much freelance marketing stuff. But I had gone there originally because I was like, I'm going to be a writer. I'm going to be writing movies. I'm going to sell a screenplay, all this stuff, all the dreams that you go to LA with. And that did not happen. And I realized, I really want to get off this train, this LA crazy, it's Hollywood crazy train. But with that went this dream that I had for my life. So I was pretty lost. And I had a beautiful baby, a wonderful husband, a great life. But I think anybody that knows, when you have these dreams and you let them go, you just feel that loss. You feel like there's something that you're trying to get back. So I was really mourning that. But when I got chickens, I got baby chicks. I went to the farm store. I said, I'm going to get 6 baby chicks. I came home with 10.
Chicken math right off the
We know how it works.
Unfortunately.
And I will tell you that when I took those baby chicks out of their little box that they came home, from the farm store and I picked them up and I placed them one by one in the brooder, in that moment, something changed in me. And I felt this connection to nature and this connection to something very important. And at the time, I really couldn't put my finger on it. And it's taken me a while. It really took, when COVID happened, I came to a lot of realizations. Like when we went through that wormhole that we went through for the last 3 years. I changed a lot, and the way that I look at chickens changed a lot, and the way that I teach about chickens changed a lot. Mm-hmm. But, even before then, they have really, my life transformed, and I found a new dream. A new dream was born, and, I get pretty dramatic about it. I think people are like, you're talking about chickens, like
pride in your craziness too, when you do love something.
Yeah. But and for someone else it could be something else. What my message is like, it's okay, when you let go of a dream, it's okay to mourn that. But when you, at some point, if you allow it, your life will open up and a new dream will come in. And I had no idea, what would happen and how this would shape my life and how it would become, this huge part of my identity and who I am and how I reach other people. Because really what I want ultimately is to help people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that you are transparent in that metamorphosis in life, because I didn't know I was going to be doing this when I grew up.
Nobody did.
It is so it's relatable, your message. At least with me, it is.
So. Yeah, and I haven't talked a lot about this on my channel. I hint at it a little bit, and I'm, the way I look at my channel, it's kind of like, you know, I mean, I wrote screenplays and I'm a writer. And so, you know, I look at myself as like, I'm the character and I want to like reveal bits and pieces of myself as we go along and as we learn about chickens. Like, I don't want to just, bleh. Here's our life story, you know. Because a lot of times people are like, I don't care.
Yeah.
Speaking of dreams, you know, when I first found you, I saw this video.
If they see the color red, they will peck it incessantly. Just think about what that could mean for a chicken that might be injured and possibly bleeding. Or what it could mean for you if you happen to stroll into the chicken coop with open-toed shoes and red toenail polish. Let's just say chickens are 80% sweet and 20% savage.
Like all of us. I love that.
How was that being on TED Talk?
Okay. So that was like before my channel.
Yes.
Before my website. I was already teaching about chickens. And I decided to audition. Like you usually audition to do, you know, like you send in your audition to do a TEDx talk. And so I did it and they chose me and I wrote this whole talk, and 2 weeks before I was meant to get on stage and do that talk, I got a call from the person from the person that puts the producer. And she's like, you know, I'm sorry, but the talk that you have made is it's just not really working. And it's not really the direction that TEDx wants to go anymore. So we really need you, like, you should do a new one. We can do it, but we're not going to record it and put it on the TEDx YouTube site. And I was like,
Rude.
What? And I don't know if I've ever cried so much. I cried so much because the TEDx talks, like, you really prepare. And I had been preparing with someone that they partnered me with and everything, and she didn't tell me that it wasn't the direction that they wanted to go in. So I was like, well, I'm sorry, then I guess I'm just not doing this. And I went to bed that night. I woke up at 3 a.m. and I said, I am not going to let this pass me by. And I wrote an entirely new talk from 3 to 5 a.m. that morning.
Wow.
So what talk did we not get?
It's basically like, it was more of like a story, like an inspirational story. And they were like, we really want to get away from, you know, the inspirational. I'm making her sound like a bad person. She's a good person, the producer. She was really sweet. But yeah, it was more of my personal story. And I think that they really want to kind of like have things be more educational and not, and less kind of just inspirational. So yeah, that happened. And then right before I got on stage, I had a tooth that for some reason started to hurt.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, oh, I have a bad toothache all of a sudden. And if you know anything about toothaches.
Right now I got one. Yeah.
Oh, I mean, it can get really, really bad. So I took like some Tylenol or whatever. I literally like took it, and I had this bad toothache, and I went upstage. I went up to the stage and I did it. And so when you see me talking, I'm in pain.
Oh, bless your heart. TED Talk was not going to let you be great that day.
Yes, they did.
Of being the little tiny terrors or the dinosaur. What was the way that you had worded it? Because I was just cracking up about your description of chickens being these.
It was like 80%. Was it that one you were talking about?
No, the description of them being like little dinosaurs, basically.
I do. I mean, I started out talking about how they, they're like dinosaurs, and it is. It's like this little piece of, the Jurassic era in our yard, and it's so funny to watch them. And also they're like vultures, like they're scavengers.
Yeah.
I had messaged you earlier. I was telling you today that we had like our first big merge. And it was bringing back all that like watching their behaviors, dealing with some of these teenager, like our mature crew is dealing with these teenagers and watching their savageness, and then so dramatic. The is real.
It is. And for those that don't know, like what they were showing was my TEDx talk. Is called I Dream of Chickens, and it is on YouTube. You can look it up. It's on YouTube. And really in the talk, what I try to convey is that we can learn a lot from looking at chickens and thinking about our relationship with chickens, and also understanding that there's really very, very few cultures on the earth, if any, honestly, that have not had chickens in their history at some point in time. So it's like this collective history that we all share. And so when I say I dream of chickens, my dream is to bring people together through chickens. That's my dream.
So while you brought that up, Terry, she said she wished that she can have chickens. I know that was one of your videos, a few of your videos, where you tried to tell people to talk to their state representative and try to get them to promote, to allow suburban people to have chickens.
And that's a big campaign of yours, actually. Is getting.
I really want to see chicken. I want to see chickens everywhere. I want to see chickens in the city. I want to see them in the suburbs. I want the sound of chickens to be something that we adopt back into our lives as just part of the ambiance of being human and living in our communities.
It's like a dog, it's just another.
Like a dog barking, or a horn honking, or
there's lots of sounds.
When I used to work a little bit closer to the home, and I would get home early, not like it is now. By the time I get home, it get dark. We would sit out in the coop and just watch the chicken drama. And it's so
entertaining.
Funny.
We love it. We love it. Yeah.
Chicken TV, yes, it is.
I'd rather watch the drama of chickens than people, honestly.
And go on Twitter.
So what would you, if somebody was able to get chickens, what would you tell them to prepare for on getting chickens for the first time? And for a lot of folks, put in the comments, what was your first chickens, or what type of chickens would you like to have? What was your first chicken?
Oh gosh, I was like a kid in a candy store. I got one of each. I had, gosh, what did I have? I had like a speckled Sussex. I had a black Australorp, had a Welsh Summer, a Silky, a Bantam. Oh gosh, what do you call? I can't remember the name.
Share the same love of the same.
Yeah.
You and I both love naked necks.
Naked necks are the best. Okay.
They are.
And you know what? Haters have got to hate.
They are.
But they can go on.
Yeah, I love them.
To the left.
So what would you tell folks that want to get chickens for the first time, how to prepare themselves or prepare for the chickens?
Well, it's funny. Of course, there's like the practical things that you need to prepare for. Like you need to look and see everything that you need for your brooder setup. You need to make sure that you have food and water, and there's a ton of information about that. Of course, I have a lot of information about that on my YouTube channel and on my website and in my podcast. But you can really, there's just so much information on how to take care of baby chicks, and most of it is pretty good information.
Yeah. Speaking of
but
that, go ahead.
Well, what I don't hear a lot of, and what I really want to put out there is, and I want people to remember this, is that when you get chickens, you are participating in something that human beings have literally done for millennia. We have had chickens for a really long time, and it is one of the most natural things that you can do. So inevitably, you're going to come up against something where you're like, oh, I don't know what to do, and I'm worried, and I'm anxious, and these little creatures are depending on me. And in those moments, I want you to of course get information, good information where you can get it, but also look inward and think about, okay, what feels right to me? I think that's really important. And not only will you be very likely doing the right thing, but you'll be opening that connection with nature, and that connection with your ancestors, and that connection to all, humanity. And I really want to make, like, that's really a big part of what I want my platform to be about, is just bringing people back to that place where they, even though this is my career, ultimately I want people to feel like they don't need someone like me. They have what they need inside of themselves.
We will always you, Madam President.
Yeah, there's always going to be questions.
So, speaking on your website, what are a lot of things that you have on your website for people that don't know about you?
Well, I have a blog.
Mm-hmm.
All of my podcast episodes are on that website. Right now, I'm on my 4th season. It's called Bach Talk.
Yes.
Spelled BAWKTAWK. And there's just a ton of information in the podcast and on the blog. I also have an online course that I offer. And if you go onto my website and go to it'll say online course section, you'll get the information about what's offered in the course and how to register for it and get started on it. And it's purely online. You can take it, you don't have to be anywhere at a certain time. You can go at your own pace.
Yes.
Yeah, you can go at your own pace. And one of the things that people really love about it, and I've realized that this is a big perk for within the course, is that I get a lot of questions. Like, people send me questions. There is no way that I could answer all of the chicken questions that I get. And so sometimes I do, and on Bach Talk, I try to answer, that's what I do. I answer listener questions for the most part. But the great thing about the course is that you will, as long as the course is up, for the lifetime of the course, you will have access to me and to my co-instructor, who her name is Kelsey, and I call her the Chickenlandia Presidential Advisor. Mm-hmm. And we will go in, like, when we get questions, it's usually about within 24 hours, we'll get back to you. It might be longer if there's like a holiday or something like that, but you are guaranteed an answer from one of us. Whereas, outside the course, I just can't offer that. And I used to do it. I used to do that. And it literally, I was just like, all I did was answer questions, and I just can't. It's better for me to, like, put content out that everyone can see and everyone can reference, rather than just taking all of my time answering questions.
one of the things I do want to cover that he has a question up on the screen. One of the biggest questions that come up in the homesteading community is about dual purpose self-sufficiency. And so we have Joshua, who doesn't live very far from us. He wants to know like recommendations for, and we get this question a lot too, dual purpose birds, because they don't want to, and just like us, the reason why we are now with American breasts and breeders of American breasts is we don't want to rely on
the hatcheries.
Yeah. So that's one of the biggest,
especially when Corona happened, a while back. It was like, and with the bird flu.
Yeah, the bird flu stuff. But same.
Yeah. So I mean, we didn't want to just rely on just the hatcheries for that. So what are your recommendations for? I know you don't talk a lot about dual purpose birds on your channel.
That's stuff that we get, and just before you answer, and something that we've talked about and that I found myself saying a lot is that when you get into dual purpose, you have to choose. Are you getting a really good egg layer? Meat or phenomenal meat and eggs. But this is a question that we get a lot, so I really want to ask you about it.
Yeah, I'm going to be completely transparent and just say that, when it comes to the meat side of the chickens, like I am not an expert on that, and I'm very upfront about it. I have zero judgment on that.
Okay, good.
But
we're covering.
Yeah, I zero judgment on that. And in fact, I think I've talked to you guys and I've been like, you guys need to do a course about this. You need to do an online course.
She's been on this, just so y'all know. She has.
Yeah, and I was going through your whole course, and then this whole new job started, so I couldn't even finish it. And
it's jacked us up.
Yeah. So now I really have no time. Our video production's been slow and everything.
Yeah.
But
it happens. Life happens.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would say, the heavier breeds, the heavier the breed, and you will know that they are dual purpose. Just look up, like if you find a breed and you're like, I wonder, this breed looks like it might be a good choice. If it's a dual purpose breed, you might be better off getting them from a breeder rather than the hatcheries, because the hatcheries are going to focus on egg laying.
Yes,
like that's their number one focus.
We learned, because we're new breeders. Like we went through the whole process to get certified and everything, and I find myself being I'm very hands-on with. To a point. With our little baby chicks, and we've had really good luck with people that have gotten chicks from us, being very healthy. And I think it's just all the little things that we do and how we personalize it. Mm-hmm. And it's, I like it because people get chicks from us and they update me. I feel like a grandma. Like I got all these babies and they send me pictures. I love it.
Yeah, like, she'll be like, look.
I'm like showing them pictures. I'm like,
I'm like, oh, okay, yeah.
But I think it's great because I don't have, like these are my grandbabies, whatever.
Yes, absolutely.
And, like people, like I'm like, when you get our chicks, you get us too. Like as I learn stuff, I'm sharing stuff, and so what you said earlier about the dual purpose thing, I feel like that's kind of like a market that we are kind of like growing in, learning about good dual purpose birds. And the biggest lesson that we have been learning out of it is that you don't get both amazing things. You have to really have a choice, or you can have a top table bird, really great meat, and eggs that are just as good as something you can get at the store, or you can have like these phenomenal eggs and stew meat.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
That's I would answer that.
Yeah. So what are some things on your channel that you can't talk about, but you could talk about now?
Well, I do want to clarify something because I know I'm going to hear about it. So, regarding the bird flu thing, I guess I am bringing it up. I know I made a face. Okay. and really like that's a face of like frustration. I do, I do believe in bird flu. I do believe it is an actual thing. But what is frustrating to me is that our focus, is on small flocks when we're not really looking at how the poultry industry has affected this issue, and not really looking at like, okay, where do things like bird flu happen? Like, what is the cause of this, and why is it getting worse? And we're not really looking at that because we don't, there are special interests that don't want to know the answer to that question. So one thing that I'm not afraid to really call out and talk about is the poultry industry. And I will say that, there's people that, there's individual people, there's families that have their poultry farms, and they may, they may work for a larger corporation. And I don't ever want to have those people who are really trying to, just earn a living and take care of their families. I don't want them to feel like I'm going after them, because that's not, that's never my intention. But my intention is to go after the big players. And I'm not afraid to say that. I'm not afraid to talk about that. I was afraid for a long time. And every time I have a lot of, I have a lot of videos about bird flu. And, I would start to record them, and I would just be like, am I going to have a panic attack?
Are we going to see the CIA, FBI come and take down Chickenlandia?
Yeah.
No, I want to see that video.
Yeah, and I think, I have a very different, I think what people appreciate about those videos that I've done is that I have a different kind of viewpoint, because my family is from Guatemala. And if you know the history of Guatemala, and you understand like why there was so much turmoil there, why there was almost 40 years of civil war there, then you know how corrupt big corporations can get.
I love the video that you did kind of touching on that subject. That was just a few months ago. You did a really great video. I wish I would have done a little.
And now looking at just from hearing from you, like you was a writer and stuff. Now I understand why you're such a great storyteller and video.
It's full circle. That's something that I love about you. Yeah. You really are a great storyteller.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. I really appreciate that. That's a wonderful compliment, because
you're very inclusive and are empathetic, because people with chickens are in different situations. Like there's people like us that are homesteading. There's people that have backyards. People are in different situations, and I feel like you're very empathetic about different situations, and I think that that's what draws people to you.
Yeah, in fact, that's another big part of my platform, because I feel like, and I certainly am guilty of this. When I first started teaching about chickens, I had these rules where really it required a lot of money to get started. And that's really when when the whole COVID thing happened, I really had this shift and this change of heart, where I realized that, everybody needs to have access to this. This needs to be a way for people to get out of poverty, not a way for people to go bankrupt. My husband
not just about the chickens.
My husband would be like, each egg is $100. Like, what are you doing? And I confess, I do spoil my chickens. I do feed them like the highest quality feed.
Yes, you do.
They're not living your life. But they're happy.
Yeah, but it's very important for me to say you don't need a lot to have chickens. And that's another thing where I'm like, this has traditionally been a sustainable practice. Chickens have traditionally ate what people threw away.
Mm-hmm.
And it's gone, at least in this country and in the Western world, it has gone from something that was sustainable to something that requires a lot of resources to have. And that should not, I don't like that. But I also understand that some people, like, not everybody can afford to buy food from the local mill that's $5 more than this food that comes, that was actually shipped here from far away.
Mm-hmm.
And so I understand that, but I think if you are able to make that vote for where you want animal feed to go and where you want this practice to go, you need to make that vote with your dollar.
Yeah.
We were listening to something you were talking about, because I love this idea of, I'm calling it a chicken bar. I know it's a salad bar, but to me, like, it's a chicken bar. And I was thinking, because we are rotationally grazing, like I'm moving chickens every week to different areas. That's not everybody's reality, but that is ours, because our soil is our number one priority. And it's also very healthy for our chickens, how we're moving them and doing what we're doing. And I was inspired about the like a salad bar, but I was like, I don't know how I can incorporate that in a mobile situation. So you don't know this, and he doesn't know this, but I've been like thinking about how, because we have built so many Siskovich tractors, which where we live works really good. It doesn't work great for people like in Michigan or, like certain demographics. It doesn't work as well as it does here. But for us here in Texas, the modified Siskovich tractors work great. We're able to do all this stuff. But now I'm like thinking about how I can build something on the side that's very lightweight, with grates on top for us to have mobile chicken salad bars. So this is just another thing I'm gonna add to his list. It's her fault, baby. I wanted to notate that. It's her fault. I'm thinking about it.
I think that's great. That's great. And when you do it, I want to see what you did.
Yeah.
There.
Thanks. Just egg her on. Don't egg her on. Please.
You got another thing on your list.
I know.
But it just brings up the fact that people are in different situations. Like a lot of the stuff that you do with your chickens, it's in a particular like solid spot. We're in a situation where we're mobile, like we're moving across fields.
All right, enough of this chicken salad bar stuff.
What's your next thing?
So, do you remember Blanco Brown?
Gonna do the two-step, then cowboy boogie. Grab a sweetheart and spin out with him. Do the hold down and get into it. Take it to the left now and dip with it. Don't throw down, take a sip with it. And lean back, put your hip in it. That was not so bad. That was not so bad, was it? That was not so bad. That.
I'm dancing. Sorry. I love it.
I think that was like the best one
That's
out of
our
the whole homesteading community.
Okay. I felt immense guilt after I posted that, because if you watch it very carefully, you will see that I am not doing the splits, okay?
I saw the foot and I was like, that's a really small foot.
Oh, we gotta take it. Hold on, let's take a look at that again.
Wait, here we go.
Gonna do the two-step, then cowboy boogie. Grab a sweetheart and spin out with him. Do the hold down and get into it.
Yeah.
Take it to the left now. Take a sip, pour it out, lean back.
Oh.
No, literally, when I saw, I was like, she's got small feet. That's cute.
Yeah. I hired a dancer, and I thought that it was so obvious. Like I really thought it was like super obvious, but everybody was like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe that you did that!" Like, oh my gosh, it's not me.
Oh.
Hey, you paid somebody, it's yours. Yeah, right?
I did. I hired a dancer.
You paid.
Oh man, that's funny.
No, I love it. Yeah. No, to this day, this is like that's our favorite one.
So
I'm glad.
So being a writer, you're actually writing a book right now, correct?
I wrote the book.
Oh.
It is being printed. Like there's actually, I think there's some design elements that are being kind of tweaked right now, and then it'll go to the printer, and it is coming out at the end of February.
And what's the name of it?
The name, well, you know what? I'm not sure if I can say the name yet.
Oh, okay.
Well, you know what? I think so, because it is available for it. Yeah. It's
Are we getting new information?
This is exclusive. It's Let's All Keep Chickens. It's called Let's All Keep Chickens.
Okay.
Right to the point.
So basically just you trying to get people to get chickens in every home across America?
Yeah, I mean, it's really, I can't remember what the tagline is, but it's really just, it's no nonsense. You know, I like to keep things very simple, and it is very natural leaning. And it is also meant to inspire people to really, you know, like kind of what I was talking about at the beginning, to make that connection with nature and what that can mean in your life. So I will, you know, I'll say it's a book about chicken keeping, and it's great for beginners or intermediate chicken keepers, but it's also a book about humanity. And I'm very proud of it. There's a lot of my own story in it. Not too much, so don't worry. But you know, I think I haven't seen another chicken book like it. There's a lot of very instructional, you know, there's a lot of great books. Like there's a ton of chicken books out there. Let's face it, there's a ton of chicken books. But what I'm really trying to do is spark that that connection with nature in people, and through that connection to, you know, our brothers and sisters, you know, all of humanity, so that we can kind of come together and heal after a very rough time that we've had in the last 3 years. You know, we're very, very divided.
Yeah, the TED talk that you had was so interesting, and we revisited it not too long ago, because it was something that, you know, that we enjoyed, and we revisited it because we knew that, you know, we were going to be having you on, and I wanted to kind of like look at that, but it's so telling that you did that before COVID happened, and you compare people to chickens, and when you think of the pecking order and how savage they are and all these things, we have so much in common with chickens. And that was a point that I really enjoyed you making, is what I wanted to say.
Yeah. And you know, one thing that I will say is that yes, there's a very strong pecking order. Yes, chickens can literally kill each other. I mean, it happens. You know, I wish it didn't, but it does. That's their nature. But if we as humans care for our chickens in a way where they have their nutritional needs met, they have shelter, they're not stressed out, they're not afraid of, you know, where their next meal is going to come from, or whether they're going to get attacked by predators. When chickens have all of those things, they are much more likely to get over the pecking order and roost together at night. Because if you look at a flock of chickens, and certainly my flock of chickens, there are all kinds of chickens in my flock, all kinds of crazy looking, some of them special needs, old, and all kinds of chicken, all different colors of chickens, and they all roost together. And if you look at humanity, it's worth it to ask yourself, how would humanity get along if we all had what we needed?
So true.
Now, you just recently moved to a new property, and it seems a lot bigger and more open space for your chickens. Are you going to do a true tour, an in-depth tour?
I did a tour. Finally, it was like, because like it took forever and people were like, where's the tour? And when the cameraman, the photographer came to take photos for the book, I was forced to really get my chicken yard and coop together and really make it look nice. And then so after that, I felt like, okay, I can do a tour now. But before that, you know how it is. It's like, there's like stuff I'm a regular person. I see on Instagram the chicken coops, that many other educators have, where it's like, what planet is this? Like my coop has poop in it.
My chickens poop. Okay. All over.
And I love it. It's super. I'm not dissing on other educators because it's very inspirational. And of course the pictures are gorgeous and everything. But, this is my reality. I'm really, and sometimes, I do have like some health stuff. So I'm not like out there cleaning every single day and picking up poop every single day because I just can't, and I have to get help with that. So it's not perfect.
Yeah.
But that's never, that to me, that's not the goal. The goal is not perfection. The goal is joy.
Bring TJ's comment back up here, because I want to get some feedback from you on this. He says that one of his girls had fowl pox and almost didn't make it. Now she's back, with her sister, and it seems like everybody has shunned her. Only when it's time for bed do they not care. And I see this behavior with some of ours. It's like they pick one. It's the pecking order. I have to I really do personally have to emotionally remove myself to some degree. So, I mean, is there any advice that you would have for that situation?
Well, what I would do is really kind of start the integration process over again as if she was never in the flock. Like, let's say you're integrating a new chicken into the flock. I would start that process over again. And I have a lot of videos and podcasts about the integration process, because this is one of the main questions I get is, I got new chickens and they're getting attacked by the older chickens. And it's difficult to watch the pecking order from where we stand, especially if you're a sensitive person like I am. It's really hard to watch that. And what I would say is if you're make sure you have more than one food and water station, just to make sure that they're getting what they need. Everybody's getting what they need. And if they're not drawing blood and they're not hurting each other, at the point that blood is drawn, that's when you need to stop and start that integration process over again.
Because they'll just for it.
Because once they see blood, I was talking about it in the TEDx clip. Once a chicken sees an injury on another chicken because of the nature of the pecking order, they can attack that chicken and really try and remove that chicken, because they in their minds, they're still in the jungle in Indonesia. Okay.
Yeah.
So a chicken that is hurt is pulling the whole flock down, making the whole flock vulnerable, because that vulnerability from that hurt or sick chicken will attract predators. Okay. And so the flock does not want that. But your flock is in a safe place. They're domesticated. We're not in the jungle in Indonesia. So as humans, we can kind of go in and make some adjustments and start that integration process. And hopefully with some time, they can get used to each other enough not to be drawing blood on each other. Like that's the main thing.
That's I feel as an observer, because I have like grown kids. Like I went through the whole stage of like standing back, watching stuff with kids. So now with chickens, I am a bit more. I kind of like implement. Okay, like you have to kind of like stand back, but I do see like sometimes he'll want to be like, like inject humaneness with animals, and they're not human, and we can't, like we have to let them do like their animal nature thing. Like a lot of humans like to look at the chickens and project our humanity on them, and they kind of go by a different rule structure. He has to remind me of that. We're having a freeze tonight, and I'm like, there's all this stuff I want to do, but they're animals that have temperature regulations. We're so different.
Yeah, and I think that's great. Like I love that about humans, that we're looking at these animals and we have empathy for what they're going through. But it is important to remember, like, their experience of it is different than how we're viewing it. Like when we look at something and we say, well, that's not fair. Look at how they're treating Bertha or whatever. It's not fair. Yeah.
Like, why are you so mean?
Yeah. And really Bertha is just like, okay, well, this is where I am in the pecking order. Like she's participating in that nature that it, has been there since forever. So as long as they're getting enough food and also, understand, like, if their lives, if it's just torture, like they can't do anything, they can't chicken at all, because of bullying or whatever, then it might be time to consider, like, okay, maybe I need to make some changes in my flock, but in general, I have never had a chicken that I couldn't integrate into my flock. And I've had so many different kinds of chickens. I've had loners. I've had chickens that hang out alone, I've had chickens that are very dominant. But as long as, they have a good quality of life and I'm kind of keeping an eye on them, then I think they're okay. I think if a chicken were given a choice, they would rather stay with their original flock if possible. Sometimes it's not possible.
Yeah, I'm finding like different breeds are kind of different ways. Yeah, when it comes to, like, I was just telling him today, and I'll just confess this, like, I realized that I never want to have barred rocks anymore. They're the first ones to like come up on the scene and investigate, and they're like the biggest bullies. We have a bunch of different breeds, but like different breeds seem to have different kind of like personality traits, is what I'm noticing, like different things. But I mean, they all have a strength.
I think you can make some generalizations, and certainly with hatchery birds, you can make some generalizations about certain breeds. But I do get the question a lot of times. People will say, what's the quiet breed of chicken that my neighbor is not going to hear?
Yeah, what is the quiet breed? That is the great.
A dead one.
Yeah. I mean, basically, like
It tastes good.
what I'll say is, you know, any hen can sing the egg song.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so there's no guarantee. Like, there's just no guarantee. You may get a very talkative Buff Orpington, and Buff Orpingtons are thought to be one of the quieter breeds, but it really has to do with the personality of the chicken, the lineage of that chicken, like where were they bred, what, it's just so many factors.
Yeah.
So I just tell people, like, look, if you want your neighbors not to know you have chickens, then you need to know that they do make noise.
Yeah.
Before you do that.
Where your neighbors get eggs. Like, if you have neighbors that are, and we had Terry earlier make a comment that if she, like where she is, like her neighbor would call the cops on her. I'm like, at that point, like there has to be relationships made, like egg, especially the way the market is right now, the prices of eggs now, like work out with your neighbors that you think you're going to have a problem with, where they get something.
So getting started on the homestead asks, when is the next Chickenlandia present race? I believe y'all two ran a while back or something.
He ran against me.
I take it didn't go too well.
You won.
Ask him. He had a corrupt campaign, and I exposed him. He was exposed. Dug up some dirt.
Oh man.
Oh, that's funny.
So
the biggest complaint that I hear and see with chickens overall is roosters. And I'm just going to let you know that I am somebody that loves roosters. Like, I have a relationship with roosters. I love them so much.
She loved them so much that she decided to keep all.
I'm going to replace my husband. No, I'm just joking.
Oh, you see that?
I just love them. I love.
Does the first man get this type of treatment?
We don't see it.
Of course.
But no, like roosters, like for me, like I love them. Like I have a
except
special,
for one of them. She don't like one of them.
Well, he fertilizes eggs, so he has a purpose. Yeah. He makes the most money around
There's some men like that. I guess he has a purpose.
Wait a minute. What? Oh.
But there's a lot of people that complain about roosters being aggressive, and I really liked how you gently talked about, the broom, it's not for hitting them, because we have like a net, kind of like we use it kind of like the broom analogy that you had, just kind of like it's a barrier. I go into that space with that one rooster with that, and just to kind of as a barrier. But yeah,
I used it to try. I tried to tame him, but every now and then he's just very aggressive, which I don't mind because
I think it's the breed.
Yeah, he's very protective of his flock. Yeah. That's what I like.
I want to replace him with some of the juniors we have coming up, and this is where he gets a soft spot.
Yeah. He's
trying to get this worked out before that decision is made. I'm
trying to protect him from the freezer camp, so
we take turns being protective of the birds.
Yeah, the rooster dilemma, it is a real dilemma, because not only are there so many places where you can't have roosters, but also, even if you can have roosters, you have to have the right ratio of rooster to hen in your flock, or else you're going to end up with a problem. More than likely you will end up with a problem. Like right now I have too many roosters. And so
girls have naked backs. That's how you.
No, because two of them are babies. They're not babies, but they're juvenile, so it hasn't gotten really bad yet. but I really need to get some more hens. Unfortunately, Philippe, I think this may be his last winter. He's just not looking great right now. And if anybody has watched my channel, I know Sunny's Place was asking how Philippe is doing. And he's okay. He's crowing. He's happy, but you can tell his circulation is not right. And that has to do with a long-term, he's had a chronic illness for several years. So I don't know how much longer I'm going to have with my little Philippe. But yeah, like I know that there are some educators and some influencers who they love roosters so much, and they really feel very strongly that you should do everything that you can to keep your rooster. And, of course you can tame the rooster. Every rooster can be tamed. And I have to acknowledge that there really are situations sometimes where it just doesn't work. And I wish it wasn't that way. But what I don't want to see is a child getting attacked by a big rooster and having a fear of chickens for the rest of their life.
Yeah.
And it happens. It does happen. Yeah, I've talked to plenty of adults that are like, I'm scared of chickens.
Well, this past year, I'm going to call him out right now. No, here's the story. This is real.
Thank you for everybody coming out.
No.
Gotta go.
I'm going to tell this story because he travels, and it's my primary job to, take care of all the animals. And I kept telling him about this particular group where the roosters were being very aggressive. Like, I didn't have this experience with any of the other roosters. All the other ones are actually affectionate with me. And this particular group started attacking me, and I wasn't feeling comfortable. And he kept downplaying my experience.
You're just scared.
He wasn't there. He didn't see. He was like, "You're just being dramatic." And I'm a tough chick. So if I'm telling you, this chicken's got to go, something's wrong, this isn't working out. But he was downplaying it, and he just, one of the mornings did the chores that I usually do, and it actually attacked him, and he kicked it, and it died. That was just a reaction, it was, but I was like, you didn't listen to me. And that's what happened. That really happened with us.
It's tough. It's just really tough. I wish that I could offer more solutions to people when it came to roosters, because there are people, and I'm one of them. I am one of them. I don't put my birds down. I can't. Okay. And I've been criticized for it. I've had people tell me, if you can't put your chickens down, then you shouldn't have chickens. And it's like, well, I can't shoot my dog. This ain't Old Yeller, it doesn't have to be this thing. There's different people, and we all kind of when a situation happens, people in a family or whatever will all take their place. And my place is not to put a chicken down. I can't do it. I'm too sensitive. I can't do it. I do not judge it at all. I think, gosh, yeah. I wish I could, when it's necessary, I wish I could. Oops, you froze.
While I do
there you are.
I'm a chicken tender. Yeah. I take care of the animals, but I can put them down. And I am, of the two of us, the one that's like, okay, this one's got to go. And I had been having that conversation about that one. And he's the one, and I'm the one here taking care of them, that will be like, no. And I'm here So I'm like, I'm on the cusp of being like, I will ask for forgiveness later. It's like where I'm almost at.
Well, it's good. You know what? Here's how I look at it. Here's my bit of therapy, marriage therapy.
Talk to us, Oprah.
What I see is that there's balance happening. You know, that's what I see.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's a good thing. You know, use it to your advantage.
It only makes us stronger that we are very, like, even with garden, you know, all the stuff that we do, like, we definitely think of things differently. I think it does bring strength to have that. Yeah.
Absolutely.
But I grew up with animals, not farm animals, but like, you know, like dogs, and worked at a vet clinic, and so I always approach things, I guess, a little differently.
So, on that note, where can people find you at, and what is next for the Madam President of Chickenlandia?
Well, you can find me, of course, on my YouTube channel, Welcome to Chickenlandia. I also have a website, welcometochickenlandia.com, or you can find me on any of the major podcast apps. My podcast is called Bach Talk. And then really the main thing that is happening, the big thing that is coming up is that my book will be released in February, at the end of February. And so I'm just kind of gearing up for that. Hopefully I'll be able to hit some of the events that are happening next year. It's tough because my husband travels a lot and I also have kids. Yeah. So sometimes I really, want to be out there partying with all the other homesteaders, and it just doesn't.
Welcome time.
You have pre-orders for your books?
I
don't even know if I'm supposed to open the pre-orders yet.
Well, Emma did share something.
That's
Emma,
okay.
Place. She shared some links in our comments.
I think that's okay. I think that's okay. It's funny because like I have this thing. Well, I have purple hair in the on the photo. I have purple hair. Guys, so it's hard to know which side, but like this part of my hair is purple in the photo on the cover of that book, because that photo was taken, I think, like 3 or 4 years ago. And obviously I don't have purple hair now. So I was like, you have to Photoshop my purple hair out of the cover and make it the color my hair is now. And I'm just like super stuck on it. And the publisher's like, don't worry, it's going to happen. You will not have purple hair in the final copy. When the copy goes out, you're not going to have purple hair. And on the pre-order page, I have purple hair. So you should know.
Are you freaking out inside about this whole thing?
I already had a freak out. And don't worry. And it's not that, nothing against purple hair. It's just, okay, style is important to me, and I have a new style right now, and I just want that to be on the book.
Yeah, I hear you.
Well, it's about being, like present where you're at.
Yeah, like current. That was like, I was going through a different phase, and now I'm in another phase.
You're like, that's an emotional flashback.
No, that's my post-COVID hair.
Hey, we all did it.
Yeah, a lot of it fell out because I did get COVID.
Oh yeah, I forgot you and the Mr. had it. Ooh.
Oh.
Yeah.
We have managed.
Yeah. I know, right?
Away.
You didn't get it?
We don't think
we did. We actually
you did.
We both actually got sick enough that we did go to the ER. But I was tested for something else, like that. It was negative. They said that you had something. What was that? Bronchitis or
strep?
Strep. He tested positive for strep, but it like all of our symptoms, like
It was the same.
It was horrible.
Yeah. So they gave me some steroid shot or steroid pills. I took it, and the next day I was like back to 100% again. You know, well, not
Good old steroids.
Like literally, this man never like lays down nothing, and like the 3 days leading up to him actually agreeing to let me take him to the ER, he was like out of it sleeping all day.
I was up there doing YouTube videos, just sweating.
It was not the husband. It was not the person. I did not know him. I was like, he is possessed.
I was like, I had like a spiritual awakening when I got COVID. It was like I was on hallucinogens. Oh my gosh, this video is gonna get flagged.
Yeah.
Before it was officially announced, and at least one time during.
Yeah.
So.
Well, Dahlia,
anyway, well, better now.
Yeah.
Well,
I appreciate you taking the time out of your night to talk with us and our viewers and everything. Blech. If anybody would like to go see her that hasn't seen her, just go check her out on her channel.
Anybody that knows us should know you.
Yeah.
Know you.
Basically, yeah. So
it was just so great being here with you guys and like actually talking to you, because I feel like, you know, we chat online, and I see your videos, and we chat on Facebook.
And
but
we're
to have a
conversation.
conversation.
Time we go out to Washington, because I have a son out there. So like when I go out there, we're gonna be coming to see you.
Yeah.
I don't know what
that.
Yeah. I'm gonna hit
You're
you.
welcome in Chickenlandia anytime. I would love that.
All right. Well, everyone have a good night. Stay safe. And if you're in the cold area, bundle up, because it is going to be cold tomorrow if you're in Texas. And
in Texas, 28 degrees.
Yeah, unheard of.
That's cold.
Yeah.
I'm not happy.
All right. Have a good night, everyone.
You too. Thank you so much. Bye, everybody.